Martin Muses and TGIF. Or is it a TGIF? Another day, another destiny, another day of kind of craziness. But how can I say this? Were we really surprised? Who's surprised? Raise your pedal in the air. Are you really surprised about any of this? Now, maybe the only concern should be that anyone is surprised or that people actually believed when they said that they were going to accurately be according to the books. Do you really think that that was the case? I mean, there was some small part of me that thought, perhaps, just perhaps, maybe they will. Maybe someone in Hollywood will keep a promise. But, well, as we all know, they won't. I have talked about this when the rumor began back in 2024. I believe it was in December. Of all the characters that so far we know for a fact that they have swapped, Severus Snape. And I will maintain from here till Judgment Day, this is not progressive. This is actually ist. Who are the real ists? People that look at Severus Snape and they see a black man. Severus Snape is not a good guy. Not in the books, not in the movies. I think he got a little more sympathy than perhaps he should have because everyone loves Alan Rickman. But he is a terrible, terrible person. He's a bully. He's selfish. And he was obsessed to an unnaturally unhealthy degree with a woman that wasn't his, another man's wife. That's the one they choose. They didn't do it to Dumbledore. Now we know they're not doing it with McGonagall, but they're doing it with Severus Snape. Patting themselves in the back, no doubt. I also have another theory. I put this under the deadline thing. This is fan bait. So now we know how they are going to be publicizing this show because fan bait is something that is a new phenomenon where they deliberately go out and they say, we're going to do something that will provoke a response. For example, there are very many reasonable responses to this and use that as an excuse to say ists. They're fan baiting the fans. They're trying to get fans to say something negative. And they're going to gaslight us to say it's because we don't like black people. Which, as I said, who are the real people that don't like, who look down, who are just awful. I guess can't even say anything nice about this. Fan bait at the worst. And of course, be ready for it. Be ready for the articles. They're going to come out and they're going to find some bots to say something ist. And then you see the fans are ist. This is our proof. All right. Well, let's say hi to the chat first before we get more into this. Oh, look, it's me. And sort of Poopus Kruber. We love our animals here at Miss Martin Muses. All the ones, especially polar bears. Conroy 7076. Thank you for being here. Hello. When is it Troll Musings? I have a few good examples. Well, it's going to be Catholic explaining online trolling. I've already talked about trolling in general, but I'm going to be looking at it from a Catholic perspective. So it will likely be a premiere and not a live stream. I'm planning on doing it for this Sunday, but we shall see. Hello, Heisman. Thank you for being here. Yep, they done it. They swapped Professor Snape. Yes. Yes, they did. Well, yeah, it's just awful. Okay, this is what this reminds me of. Remember back in the day, see, anyone that knows realism, I was being raised right when some of that was sort of being worked out. But in the 70s, you might recall the musical Jesus Christ Superstar, where in the movie, Jesus looked like a Renaissance painting and Judas was a black man. Okay, those are some of the stereotypes that used to truly exist and were remnants of true isms or whatever they wanted to have a crook or a thief or a liar or someone who is lazy. That's what they would do. And it was ist. It was awful. And now we seem to be coming full circle. I've talked before about how when they did Les Miserables, that they had Jean Valjean, they had Cosette, they had Fantine, they had Marius. They were all lily white. But Javert, Eponine, Thénardiers were not. And yet they call themselves progressive. Yeah. They'll call James Potter ist because of ism. Yes. Well, this also brings another layer to it, doesn't it? So now when Dumbledore is using Snape the way he does, and Dumbledore was pretty terrible that way. He did it for the greater good, but still, they're going to say, oh, look, it's the Scandinavian looking man, if you know what I mean, doing this to the black man. We're going to look at some of these other castings, and we're going to see that so far, this is the first swap. We're still waiting, though, for the kids. They'll probably swap them. If they do not swap Lily and they keep with this casting, that's going to be pretty more ism because the stereotype of what people that were ists, true ists, used to feel about women who had the same complexion as I and men who did not. If you've seen the To Kill a Mockingbird, that was done really well. Yes, Snape is in the house. Hello, Gravy D. Yes, it's awful. Evening, folks. It's Archer Collins, all the way from the future. We have a Brit in the chat. Evening, folks. Game canceled due to power outage for a GM, so I can actually catch the stream. Well, so happy to see you here. Believe it or not, I have my Henry II ready to go from my House of the Plantagenet, and I know you'll probably know far more than I will. So, Archer Collins says, will they then call Lily ist for choosing James over Snape? Darn right, that's where they're going to go. Hey, everyone's saying hey to each other. Yes, they are precious. I have some tea. I'm going to try not to be a barbarian and make too many sounds. It's interesting the sounds that will come out on my microphone. Sometimes things will and sometimes things won't. But anyways, so I want to look at some of the news. We're going to look at X for this and then some of the commentary. Hey, Henry Plantagenet. Yes, we'll know when rid me of this meddlesome priest. Heisman says, I'm sure swap Hermione to and make her the victim in crying ism. Yes, I think that because of what they did with Harry and the cursed child, it's almost a given that that's what they're going to do. Because remember before Rowling became a hero when everyone was calling her woke and everything, she was actually trying to say that she never said what race Hermione was. And everyone was like quoting to her from the book and she'd block them. Yeah. It's Swift -1. Hello. Thank you for being here. Plantagenets are such a fun lot. Darn right. Yes, the stage play. That is correct. So it's a lose-lose situation because if you don't say this is the best thing ever, you're an ist. And you're like me. You're an ist if you think it is the best thing ever. Of all things. All right. Well, let's go ahead. I want to make sure that I am properly not doxing anything or anyone or any private messages. Let's share some things from X. Here it is. I might pronounce this wrong, so frankly, I'm not going to pronounce it. Here we are. This man has been cast as Severus Snape in the Harry Potter series. Oh, there you have it. And source is Deadline. We're going to be looking a little bit at Deadline. And let me see something here. Why do I have... Oh, yeah, I have a lot of things muted. It's no offense if you are muted. I mute a lot of things. Whoops, I can't now. Now they're... Oh, my gosh. Now I'm fighting a cat. This is ridiculous. Now they're saying post your reply. I'm going to get out of here for a second because my cat's trying to destroy my stream. All right. Shield Wallow Dragons is here. Why, hello. Thank you for being here. So good to see you. Yes, we're talking about Snape. Talk about a downgrade. How could anyone replace Alan Rickman? Yeah. Well, there are people that could. Yes, they could. But not this. All right. So let's look at the responses that people have had to it. You can tell, like, oh my. Meghan Markle stuff. What can I say? I do follow royal things. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, I've been following how the king, the head of the Church of England, didn't mention Lent, didn't wish anyone a happy Lent, but he wished everyone a happy the other thing, which I've got no problem with him wishing them, anyone, a happy Ramadan. But the fact that he, head of the Church of England, didn't wish Christians a happy Lent or a good and fruitful Lent, but our president did. My question to you, how do we push back against this? We don't, Stephen Ransom. We don't. Some people say, well, we will all just, how do I say? We will all just boycott it. We won't watch it. First of all, yes, you will. You will. You can't push it back against it. It's something that's too big. So, okay, we don't watch it. They won't care. Enough people are going to watch it. Enough people are going to hate watch it. Shieldwell says, I was never going to watch this show anyway, so I kind of don't care what they do, but is swapping is cringe. Yeah, it's cringe, and it's ist. Buddy Hepburn is here. Thank you. I'll call him out. It's ist. Well, speaking of which, this is something that someone asked, who could replace Alan Rickman? And someone, look at this. There we go. He would have been perfect. And he's closer to Severus Snape's age, frankly, because he was a bit younger than Alan Rickman. But we love Alan Rickman. Then we have Lorena Creole, who shares the same skin tone as the new Snape. Snape is black now, and she's rolling her eyes. Rosary Warrior John Trent is pointing out his description from the book. We have a dog. I guess the dog isn't happy. We've got some memes. The curious pollster. All right, I'm going to get out of here just for a second because goodness knows what some of these comments might end up being. And I don't want to have any issues with somebody saying something wrong. Do I have anyone else under here? No. But we did see that very good comment about Adam Driver, who, gosh darn, he probably would have been amazing in this role. Absolutely, he will have been amazing. All right. I'm going to bring this up here. Are we all right? We're good. Let's share. I have a very nice, succinct, and perfect comment from Mark with a C. Course. I'm going to get to some of the comments in a second. This is what Mark with a C had to say. If you don't know Mark with a C, why? Why don't you? Why aren't you following him? I am the gospel of, according to Mark with a C, he is I, and I am he. I am invincible, ridiculous, crazy black man. He says, Welp, here we go again. Hollywood refuses, in all caps, to create or maintain well-developed, original black characters. The message is clear to black people. The best you'll ever be is an imitation of us when we choose to use you for our own purposes. Totally disposable. Yeah, I can't in any way disagree with that. Steve knows he's muted, so he's not offended. He doesn't care. Truth. Yeah. And I did want to talk about what Margot the C said, because it's one thing, okay, this woman who is so pasty white, she's see-through. What does she know about this? Well, I don't, but I do like to get different perspectives, and that is what I was seeing, and it only goes one way. Yeah. It is the Meteor Advocate Timon. One tip for everyone: if you don't watch it, it doesn't exist. That is true. You see, I like what Timon said. You are in charge of your piece. This is truth. If it doesn't exist, it's gone from your brain. I've had to do that, like with X, for example. Even though I'm kind of showing it, I deleted it, but I had to bring it back for reasons. I don't want to hear it. It doesn't exist. That's how I feel about was it the Rings of Power? Though I know it exists, but I don't acknowledge it as anything remotely related to J.R.R. Tolkien, so it's not a problem with me. Stephen Ransom says, when does race swapping become cultural appropriation? Ooh, good point. Isn't it cultural appropriation and the outright theft of a global property of popular culture? So sorry, but the Orange Man has me more outspoken than ever. Yeah, when is it culturally appropriation? I never read or watched Harry Potter, says Snortopupus Gruber. I'm just opposed to this virtue signaling from loonies in principle. Yeah. Let's see. Who else do we have? Everyone's saying hello to each other. If anyone else has come in that I have not seen or said hi to, my apologies. Please let me know, those of you watching on the replay, what you think about this. I dread to think what they will do with polymorph potions. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, but isn't it the truth? Isn't it the truth that we can't expect anything from Hollywood? And we're silly if we do. They hate us. It's also a little bit silly because Harry Potter, there's actually diverse characters in Harry Potter. It's not like everyone in there was a certain race. Buddy Hepburn said, that is true from one point of view, but they know for people my age and younger with no attachment to the original films or even books, this will become definitive future viewing over time. Yeah, it does get into people's heads. Even before I heard some of their casting choices, I wasn't too impressed with what I was seeing, mainly because say what you will about the original 3 and their acting abilities as things got more complicated as the characters grew up. When you watch the first 2 Harry Potter movies, even the 3rd one, gosh, aren't they good? They're adorable, they're cute, they have chemistry, and I just can't imagine how they could replicate that. How can they replicate that? I'm gonna try to find, let's see, I think I got a comment here from La Reina. Alrighty. This is from La Reina Creole. I might go to Mara in a bit, but I've gotta definitely make sure it's a bit censored. I don't want to lose my channel today. La Reina Creole says, and for what reason besides diversity in name only? Pretty dang defensive given how Snape was described in the books and portrayed on screen. I think it's Essiedu. Help me out here if I'm wrong. Maybe a fantastic actor. I'm sure he's amazing. But this is nothing but a virtue signal. I would add and a bait. Let's see. Someone, Paul, I don't know who he is, says, I'm curious on how this plays out. Do they go into auditions truly colorblind, or do they get together and determine which character is important enough to be a meaningful swap, but won't sink the whole show? See, I almost would argue if they were told they had to swap somebody, if they did it, for example, with hell, did it even with McGonagall, that would make more or it wouldn't be as ist for me. But when they do it to a character who, as I've talked earlier, has a lot of undesirable characteristics, and they go, "That's the one we wanna have be not white." I'm not so sure about that. Lorena says, "Good point. If this goes the route that House of the Dragons did and the actors talk top notch, all may be forgiven." Maybe, though I think that's a bit of apples and oranges, and again, no knocking to Lorena, she's the queen. She is the Queen Creole. At least in House of the Dragon, they tried to make consistency with their characters, but still, at the end of the day, doesn't make sense. But we were able to forget it because, again, they did a better job of having all the Valerians be of a certain race. Archer Collins says, "It's been a long time since I read the book, so can't remember which characters have specific descriptions. But to be fair, there is no set of parents colorblind casting is okay. I can understand that, but it is very clear how Snape is described. Oh, and again, oh my gosh, he's sallow, he's pale, he's bat-like. And once again, they decided, I know who can play that. Oh, Steven Ransom says, I've come across reaction channels that don't know about the original source of the film they're watching, true, or will be surprised by the original, shocked at the quality of story lost. Hmm. But he said, my sentiments exactly. Oh, I see what you're saying. Archer Khan says, I would think it's pronounced Essiedu. Yes. I'm just careful because I'll just make an idiot of myself. It's rare to see original films, says Betty Hepburn, and shows as they age and remakes have been made. I was happy to see Total Recall that just came on. That was not the remake. Yeah, just reissue them. Awards based on equity, inclusion, merit isn't considered at all. Yeah, there's a reason why they probably are being forced to do this. Is they want to get BAFTAs or they want to get Emmys, and you cannot if you do not have a significant character be a certain race. That said, you could have done it with another character, and it would have been annoying, but not as come on. And like Mark with the C was saying, create great characters for black actors that are theirs, not it's almost like saying, well, we won't write good stories for you, but you can have this white character, for lack of a better word. Think about Black Panther. I always use Black Panther as an example. That movie, 2 billion. Everyone went to see it. I went to see it. It was an original character written as he was. It wasn't a swap. It was great. Oh boy, salty traveling. See, it's here. Let it all burn. F this trash. Yeah, it's gonna suck. Casting is part, acting is another, says Betty Hepburn, but it all fails if the writing is terrible. Well, that is true. I'm curious if they're gonna try to use the same sets, the same music. You can't have Harry Potter without John Williams' theme. I mean, come on. It's like trying to do Star Wars without the Star Wars music. Archer Collins says, but this is current day, so they'll find a way to make Snape a hero in their eyes. Yeah, if they do that, oh, talk about a message. Hey, women, it's okay to be stalked. Snape is a bloody goth. Yeah. Dead Man Walking is here. Hello, Miss Martin Muse says, why, hello, Dead Man Walking. And everyone's saying hello. Betty Hepburn says, if the Weasleys are not ginger, I riot. Yeah. Imagine if they try to swap them. Oh my gosh. But you see these images, these people, they're set in our brains. And a lot of these are like from childhood. Let me see. There was some really good. Ah, this is from Grok. Severus Snape is described in the Harry Potter books as a thin man with sallow skin, a large hook nose, shoulder length, greasy black hair. His physical appearance often makes him appear greasy, sinister, and vindictive. And once again, they said, that reminds me of a black man. Hogwarts would be Google headquarters or Apple corporate. Yeah. Salad equals yellowish. Yes. Yeah. There was a character. A lot of people are saying that he could have been Kingsley Shacklebolt. And I wouldn't have had a problem if they'd have even expanded that role for it. Other people are making comments that, oh, yeah, now they're going to make James an ist. That's why they were bullying him. Now, they did have in the TV show, sorry, in the books and shown in the movies, and a metaphor for ism, and that was the whole pure blood versus half blood versus muggle. So that kept it all universal. And the best stories have universal themes that we can all relate to. When it gets too on the nose, it dates the work. Archer Collins says Jasper Fjord's Tuesday Nick series is set in part in the land of fiction. It's complicated, but there's a bit where book Harry Potter is upset because he's starting to look like Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, someone even asked Deadline, are you trolling? That's a good one. Okay. Now, there are other casting things. And this is where what I said earlier is coming into play about, well, who else are they casting? Well, here we go. Looks like this chick is going to be McGonagall. Oscar and Emmy nominated actress Janet McTeer is in negotiations to play Professor Minerva McGonagall in the HBO series adaptation of Harry Potter, sources tell Deadline. And Deadline would not be running with this if they didn't know pretty soon that this was pretty definitive. Deadline has real sources and they have more details. This is a fine casting. It's perfectly okay. But once again, oh, look who they cast as McGonagall. She's described, and she's a Scottish chick. She seems good to play. Okay, I don't know. I've got all sorts of things here. I'm going to get out of here now because if I cannot preview all of the comments, I will not do so. Buddy Hepburn says, I wonder if he'll go full get this doctor. All bad jokes with singing and dancing. Please no. Fjord actually has a clever idea there regarding how readers always have their own idea of what written characters look like. I would agree. I would absolutely agree. See, did I bookmark anything else? Oh, yeah, I think they have a thing like all the characters we know so far. Now, I heard a rumor about Dumbledore. Let me see if I can find this here. No, I'm not going to give you any of my information, Deadline. Go away. Oh, yeah, John Lithgow being Dumbledore. I think that's a fantastic choice. We have no word on the kids. They only say that the casting call demands they be between the ages of 9 and 11. Do I have anything else here? Yeah, so the other one is John Lithgow. Might be a bit controversial that he's not a Brit. I thought that that was one of Rowling's demands was that they be played by Brits, at least in the first movie. Maybe it was only the original characters. No, but they all had it here. Archer Hahn says Janet McTeer has a history as a witch. She played the mother in The White Queen. Oh, didn't she? Yes. I still think out of all of those, Philippa Boyne sing The White Queen is probably the best. It kind of, sort of, mostly follows history, sort of. I wonder if Lady Potter rejected Snape because he was like, you see, there we go. Size, they just can't leave anything unhurt. Wait, where'd my John Lithgow thing go? Okay. Yeah, it says John Lithgow saying yes to playing Albus Dumbledore in HBO's Harry Potter series. I'm afraid, but I'm very excited. Let me get this advert out. It says here, it came as a total surprise to me, Lithgow told Screen Rant in an interview. I just got the phone call up at the Sundance Film Festival for yet another film, and it was not an easy decision because it's going to define me for the last chapter of my life. I'm afraid, but I'm very excited. Some wonderful people are turning their attention back to Harry Potter. That's why it's been such a hard decision. I'll be about 87 years old at the wrap party, but I have said yes. May I just repeat myself? So they did an accurate casting for Dumbledore. Philippa Gregory. Oh, thank you. Is it Philippa Gregory? Well, who's Philippa Boyens? Oh, yeah, Philippa Boyens is the chick from Lord of the Rings. Maybe I'm not liking women named Philippa right now. Thank you, Philippa Gregory. I made that same mistake the other day, didn't I? Cut the agenda and total lack of imagination. I don't know. Was it Archer Collin? Were you the one that pointed out something about the awards? This might be something about the awards. They have to have a main character. But oh, who do they choose? Who do they choose? And gosh, John Lithgow actually will be amazing. That man can act. Snape, not Snake. Oh dear. What else? All right, let me see if I can go tomorrow. She had some really good things to say. But I'm afraid. I'm afraid. Maybe I won't share. Why isn't it coming up? See, OG MAR. Where the hell are you, Mara? Let me make sure I'm not sharing because that would be awful. All right. Bringing it up here. Sometimes I hate my life. Here she is. We are. Is she safe for work? We love her, but is she safe for work? Well, these days, straight white men are an underrepresented group. That is true. Redacted blankety blank blank. Yes. Cue the agenda. Total lack of imagination. Yes. Yeah. Sorry if I lost some people there while I was trying to get this together. Well, she did say, I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Oh, nope. That was about the man and his mother impregnating. I shouldn't laugh. The same woman. All right. I'm going to redact this. She says, an American actor cast as Dumbledore and a swapped Snape. I hope Elliot Page is cast as young James Potter. Maybe then you'll learn by speaking with closed wallets instead of boycotts. Because I think she's referring to the boycott for that Harry Potter game, I think. And she also points out things about Hermione being swapped in the Cursed Child. Archer Khan says, as long as Lithgow can do a good, consistent English accent, I think he can. He was in The Crown as Winston Churchill. I think he did well with that. Stephen Ransom says, the Virgin of Ben-Hur we're familiar with was a remake of a silent picture from 25 years before, and it was based on an older play adapted from a novel. Darn right. General Lew Wallace. That is correct. A lot of things that we have are remakes. Well, while we're at it, I do have the question here in the chat. Who would you have cast? I like Adam Driver. I think that's a good casting. I'm fine with John Lithgow. If it wasn't John Lithgow, and we've got a lot of old British dudes that could do a good job with Dumbledore. Anyone? Oh, I just had a thought. Timothy Dalton. He wouldn't be a good Dumbledore. He would be good in a lot of this stuff, though. I think they're going to probably try to go with an unknown for Harry Potter. This is all, though, going to be a total mess because no one likes Rowling anyways right now. Or maybe everyone's principles will go out the window once it becomes a choice between Harry Potter and not. There's lots of pleasant British people that could play the Weasleys. I don't know. So there it is. I guess I don't have much more to say about this except I feel people's pain. I feel people that are disappointed in this. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to suspend disbelief. I mean, you already had the late Alan Rickman hanging over you, haunting you. I like John Lithgow saying about it, he's scared to death, though. I mean, he has Richard Harris, Michael Gambon. I mean, those were great actors. If he was still alive, Laurence Olivier. Well, then again, Laurence Olivier could do anything. He was great. We love Laurence Olivier here at Miss Martin Muses. Ben-Hur says, Buddy Hepburn says, the 1959 Ben-Hur is the GOAT. That 2016 version is sad in comparison. Oh, man, I didn't even watch that. I forgot that even happened. Charlton Heston, well-deserved Best Actor. The example of Ben-Hur was an upgrade from silent to sound and black and white to color. It was legitimate. Darn right it was. Well, think about all the different Phantom of the Operas that there have been. Cast a guy who just quit Doctor Who as Harry Potter. Oh, dear. Well, he is too old, but oh, dear. Thank you, Zach. Thank you for being here. Betty Hepburn. I got to see the 1959 Ben-Hur on the big screen a couple of years ago. Fun. Oh, I would love to. I can't pronounce that word. I think that's his name. Yeah, I gave up on Ben-Hur. Doctor Who after, well, the 12th Doctor or before the 12th Doctor. I don't know. I just wasn't into it. Everyone's saying hello. Everyone's waving and being happy people. And thank goodness my cat has fallen asleep, so I have not had to fight him at all for the past half hour. But yeah, who would you have cast? Or maybe an unknown. There's lots of really good classically trained actors out there that could have done a great job. You know, some of those dudes, like Clive Owen, he'd be good. Though he might be a little too old nowadays. Hey, Steven. Snorterpoopus Kruber says, how about some representation? Cast a young British polar bear as Harry Potter. Darn right. Let's make it happen. And there is a super chat for $5. It is Dmajini. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He says, "Hello, my friend. Yes, I'm so sick of the swappings. This paints an incorrect picture that brown people somehow want or need this. In reality, it's just lazy." Thank you. That's a great perspective. Because, like I said, I am a pasty white woman, but I like to hear it from your perspective. This is another reason why it's an issue. Yeah, that they want or need this. And to me, it continues a very backward vision of the infantile, the whole infantile way of looking at, as you say, brown people. Or that has been part of the sad part of our ist history. How is this? Yeah. Did they do a poll? Yeah. Where were the voices? Where were diverse voices asking for this? Nobody. Nobody. But thank you so much for the $5, Dmajini. Thank you. I appreciate you, and everyone follow him, love him. He is amazing. And you, sir, get a rose. Thank you. And if you want to hop on Dmajini and maybe expand a little bit on that, I would definitely like to hear from you. They can't even get the numbering right for Doctor. On screen, Matt had run out of regenerations, making him 13. Capaldi was the start of a new regeneration cycle. Oh. I didn't know that, but I was not like a huge fan of Doctor Who, so I didn't know a lot of the lore. Like that smash button. Thank you, Dmajini. Why not cast Jude Law as Dumbledore? Oh, damn. Yes. Holy sh! Why didn't they? Those bastards. Why did they not cast Jude Law as Dumbledore? At least that would connect their other properties. No business sense at all. Yeah. It is a crime. A crime, I tell you, precious. That they bungled the Fantastic Beast so badly that, oh, yes, everything that you said and more. Yeah, I just have to get out my earphones here, and I'll send you the link there, Dmajini. Holy crap. They could even have the Hannibal guy, the one who was cast in the third film. They could have him star as Grindelwald in the final series. Oh my gosh, would they have the balls to cast Johnny Depp as Grindelwald? No, they wouldn't. To be honest, I really don't. Yeah, give me a second here, Dmajini. I'm getting over to X. And where are you? Search. Dmajini. The Lord Commander himself. Oops, why didn't it go in? There it is. All right, you've got it. Let's continue. I don't think Grindelwald is in the Harry books. Is he? Yes, he is. Very, very briefly. In the last one, he's imprisoned and murdered by... He's murdered by Voldemort. Yes. So that's how he gets the Elder Wand from him. Or thought he had the Elder Wand from him. And then he was sadly mistaken. And I'm just some commentator on YouTube. Just, no, you're not. You're absolutely right. It is Charlie Stevenson. Thank you very much for being here. Ezra Miller's career was untouchable. Yeah. But look at this. After the success of the first Fantastic Beasts, all they had to do was just print money. But the script for the second movie was so horrible. And then the whole debacle about firing Johnny Depp without any sort of due process, that was awful. All right, thanks. Yes. Hey Burr. Yeah. Very briefly. And I think that Harry only saw him in like one of his not a dream. Was it a dream where he was sharing dreams with Voldemort, or was it a vision thing where he'd get in his brain? I forget. It's been a while. I'm going to have to reread these books. The books are great. I mean, I have so many fond memories of going in and getting those books at midnight. They were just so good indeed. Yeah, Jude Law would be great. I somehow suspect, though, that they want to try to completely distance themselves from the original series, which would, of course, be stupid because I don't know. The way Hollywood works is really weird. I'm going to be paying very close attention, to be honest, about how the publicity goes with this. I know for a fact that a lot of the fan baiting and a lot of the way that the actors and the articles will respond to these things are scripted by the publicists. It's on purpose. We saw it play out with the actors in the Rings of Power. We saw it play out with, what was it? With the Star Wars stuff. Just every time there's a new Star Wars coming out. And you saw, for example, in Cobra Kai, where the publicists did not want them to do that. The producers on them were not going with that narrative. You never saw the actors spouting off. The toxic fans are coming to get you. Now, even if some people act like jackasses about this, and you know there will always be a few, or there'll be bots so that they can use these for their articles. We'll see how the publicity machine works. I will respect them if they don't run with the ist narrative. If they do, then we'll know where they're going. Pay attention over the next few days. Look at everyone saying hello to each other. Yeah, Charlie Stevenson. Yeah, gosh, Ezra Miller, what a weirdo. And look what happened. Oh, dear me. How many of you all were actually raised with Harry Potter? I was well into my 20s when the first book came out, so I was always reading them as an adult. But I know for some kids, this was like their first book that they really read. And here he is. Yay, we have Dmajini. Dmajini is in the house. Hello. Welcome back to Miss Martin Muses.
Hello there. Welcome. Sorry, I'm on my cell phone. Can you hear me real good?
Oh, you sound fantastic. Yes, do what you need to do. I'm so happy we were able to cut on, because you know what I mean. I wanted to get your perspective, because I told you I'm a pasty white woman of Scandinavian origin.
That doesn't matter. My great grandmother was a pasty white woman, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, but you know what I mean. You know how people will be. Oh, what does she know? You know, or she's a flower plant.
Excuse me. So the thing with me is that I'll be the first to admit to you guys, I'm not a Harry Potter guy. I watch the movies, but that's basically what I'm like. They were cool movies, but I was a little older. That was like it was like a little bit past my prime, you know, for like something to get into. I'm more of a Star Wars guy, right? But let's be for real. I'm so tired. Like, I mean, it's like, it's not even just the swapping. It's like everything right now. But we'll talk about the swapping in general right now. But I'm so tired of this, especially when you really take a look at what they're doing. They're doing this literally for checking boxes and for virtue signaling points. And I really hate using those specific words because it's kind of overplayed. But they're literally doing that because I know it's totally different things. But let's just take, for instance, sorry. They literally canceled a Tiana show but we get swappings. We get like Tiana is an actual black original character, and again, like I said, I know it's different properties and everything, but it's still a point. It's the mainstream media entertainment industry in general. They will literally cancel a original character that's black and be like, oh, guess what? Here's this sloppy seconds for you. You're gonna like that, aren't you? Take that because that's all you're worth is a sloppy seconds. And to that, I will say it really annoys me so much because, like for instance, we got the big movie that's out right now, which is when I say big movie, I'm using air quotes, is Falcon America, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say, like, oh yeah, well he was Captain America in the comics. Yeah, it was a failed comic, number one. And number two, that means that you are not a real comic book fan or comic book reader because since 1940 to like 2012 when Disney bought the was it well we say 2012, but let's say from 1940 to 2012, Steve Rogers was Captain America and nobody cared. All of a sudden now he has to be swapped and you care. It's the same thing now with the Snape thing. You got to swap him because reasons where they literally have this description of him as being pasty white in the books, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing? Nobody asked for this. And you know what's the worst part about this, Teresa? Is the fact that when they do this, we'll have people, which it really annoys me a little bit because we'll have people on either side, right? You have the people who are all pro this, you have the people who are against it. And the ones that really annoy me the most is the people who are against it, is because they forget that there are a lot of black people who didn't really want this crap either. And they'll sit there like, oh, you guys are, it's basically paint this broad picture like we wanted this. Like, no, this is a corporation thing. They didn't ask Dmajini that I needed to see somebody, that I need to see myself as a character. Peter Parker is my favorite superhero. And he was, by the way, Peter Parker is Spider-Man and Miles Morales is Miles Morales. But Peter Parker is my favorite superhero. It has nothing to do with him being white or whatever. First off, his characters is cool. And second off, the reason why I like Peter Parker as Spider-Man is because he was a geek. He was a nerd. That's what I was attracted to because I was a geek and a nerd. It had nothing to do with him being white. I could care less if Peter Parker was white. But at the same time, that's what he was. So this whole concept of them saying that we need or we have to see some representation on screen for us to feel some kind of way is stupid, it's lazy, it's pandering, and I'm tired of it. Sorry if I went on a rant.
No, I wanted that rant because I feel your pain because when I was a kid, I loved Star Wars, and of course, I love Princess Leia. But man, Luke Skywalker. Now, I am not a white man who's a farmer. You know what I mean? I loved him as my hero. Han Solo was my hero. I am not Harrison Ford. I was a little girl, and I loved Superman. You know, you don't have to see yourself in a character to enjoy it. And you said it better than I ever could. I love rants because I was getting fired up. I'm like, damn it, you're right. I mean, and the pandering, I think, is the part that kills me. Like, they're all going to be sitting there patting themselves on their back. Oh, look 100%. At us. We're so progressive. We're so charitable. Look at us.
Oh. And you know what's the worst part about this, Sue? What's going to end up happening is we know the same song and dance is going to happen. Everybody who says, hey, this is not right, they're going to be, if they just so happen to have not enough pigmentation in their skin, they're going to be like, oh, you're an istophobe. But no, that's not how the character is. You have to understand, when you have a visual medium, and now granted, the books are not necessarily a visual medium, but they describe the character. Most books, any really good book is going to describe the character, right? They're going to do that because that's how they want to immerse you into that world, right?
Yep.
And again, in the case of Snape, they have she drew pictures of him basically, right? That, as far as I understand, like I said, I never read the books, but she drew pictures of him. So he's not only described as a pasty white male, but he's drawn as the pasty white male. So you have that visual medium that you need to stick by. And again, what does this prove by changing the character? What does it prove? Again, what is going to end up happening is you're going to have it's almost like it's on purpose, really. I'm not even going to say it's almost like it is on purpose. What this does is that it keeps the masses going at each other. Because
damn right.
even though it's something small as a Harry Potter show, what this ends up having is, again, like I said, you're gonna have if you're a Caucasian male or woman, you're an istophobe. If you're black or brown, you're a sellout. It's the same thing, right? If you say, hey, that character's not the way it is in the comic books or on the book or whatever, you are somehow the bad person. How about the bad person? That's how it was. So many people have said this before. If you bought a property for X amount of $1 million, and you bought this with the hopes of making that money back, and it has that built-in fan base specifically because of that particular story, why would you change it? What is the reason for you changing it?
Yeah,
that's like making, and it's not a swapping thing, but it's like literally making, like you mentioned Luke Skywalker. That's like making one of the most hopeful persons in the galaxy, someone who went out of his way, who was willing to die to protect and turn his homicidal maniac father, a genocidal homicidal maniac father, because that's what Anakin was.
Yeah.
And he was willing to turn him back to the light side, but his nephew had a bad dream, so, I'm going to wipe him out. That is... It just, I'm sorry. I
know. I'm getting mad too. I'm ready to kill somebody
in Minecraft.
I'm ready to turn into the Hulk. It's like I'm gonna turn green.
But it just drives me crazy because we have the same situation over and over again, and it rinses, repeats. And a lot of the problem too, again, like I said, it keeps this stupid pigmentation conversation going, which is the most ridiculous thing. Like I even said, not only is my great grandmother, was she Irish, right? I have Japanese, I have white, I have Native American, I have black, all of my family. So I'm the type of person where I see people using this divide stuff, I'm like, it drives me crazy. It really does, because we are all human beings. At the end of the day, we all love, we all bleed, we have, we can, multiply, all that stuff can happen because we're all human beings. And they keep trying to keep a divide with us. And even the small things like TV shows, movies, is still a ploy to keep us divided. And don't get me started on the actual real life scenarios as far as politics, because that is a freaking joke. I'm just going to say this, and I know it's totally off topic. I just got to get this off my chest.
Go for it. You're welcome. You have
I remember there was a time when I grew up, the first president I can remember was Ronald Reagan. I was born when Jimmy Carter was the president, but I was a baby. But Ronald Reagan was the first president I remember, right? And from that point on, like, I was like, hey, that's the president, whatever. It's only now that it's like such a divide with just having a president, right or left. The president is not United States of the right and United States of the left. It's the United States. If you don't like it, hey, you can leave. But listen, we are still in the greatest country in the world. Okay, we just are. If it wasn't, nobody would want to be coming here. Just that simple. But I remember I'm just so tired of dividing with people in general. And it's just getting tired. I'm so tired of the divide with everything. Can we just, I want to be kind of corny, but can we just get along? You remember that one.
Oh, yeah, Rodney King.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Everything is to divide us. I found myself arguing with a family member today, and we actually agreed, but everyone is just so uptight. This person was arguing with me. I'm like, I am actually agreeing with you, but it's just like everything. it's so divisive, and they know what they're doing. It's like they know this big powder keg that we're living in, frankly, of their creation, the popular culture's creation, in cooperation with politicians, all of this stuff. And they thought, here's a nice grenade I'm going to throw into the middle of it. And you know what? If people have an emotional reaction, we're going to say it's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. It's like, no, you threw the grenade. We didn't. We're just trying to enjoy something.
I think it was somebody put a clip. I don't remember where I saw it, but I think it was on the Joe Rogan show, and he had a guy. Matter of fact, it wasn't Joe Rogan. It was just a clip that Joe Rogan showed, I believe, and he had a professor, and he said you could put fire ants or black ants inside a glass jar, and they'll be fine. Nobody, the ants won't do anything. But if you shake up that glass, they'll try to kill each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that really is such a powerful analogy for humans in general, right? We're all on this blue rock together. And it's just the powers that be just keep shaking up that freaking rock just to have us go at each other's throat. And it's just so tiring. Mm-hmm. And like I said, on a personal note, I wouldn't exist if somebody and my great-grandmother didn't look past pigmentation. Dmajini, as I am now, would not exist if somebody didn't look past that. And this is back when it was literally illegal to do that. You understand? So yes. It just really annoys me. We got people out there who sit there especially the youngsters out there, they'll be so quick to say, "Oh, the United States is istophobe and all this stuff like this." No, you don't know what istophobe is. My grandmother told me how her mother would be able to take her into the white bathrooms because her mother had red hair and freckles. You see, that's when things were actually istophobe. Not right now. Are we out of the woods? I think we got we have a little ways to go to be out of the woods. But we are damn sure not back in the 50s, 60s, and 40s. Okay, it's just not like that. And I just can't stand this constant perpetual push to keep making people at each other's throat as if we are back in the 60s, 50s, and 40s. I hate that. We should be at, like in Back to the Future time with my flying cars right now, but we're still having conversation on pigmentation.
yeah. Where's my friggin' floating skateboard? You're exactly right. And I feel the same way about sexism. We don't know the meaning of the word sexism. Back in the day where I wouldn't have been able as a single woman to have had my own bank account. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, you need your husband to do it. Oh, you don't have a husband? Well, sucks to be you. Okay, you can be a nun, a secretary, or a teacher, or a nurse, and fuck you, that's the rest of your life. That was sexism. Mm-hmm. That was sexism. Or women not being allowed to go into certain professions, like getting to be doctors. Like the first woman doctor was during like the Civil War, and that was like a unicorn situation. That's sexism. Mm-hmm. Women not being able to own property, that was sexism. So that's something I can say. It's like women today, especially in America, holy crud, we live a life that women would have died to have had.
100%. 100%.
Wow, you got me shouting now. But you're right. And you see, this is what this brings up. I mean, I think that this just brought up some things from the surface because we are living in such a powder keg. This goes back to what those SOBs did with Star Wars. Is we used to be, even during the first Harry Potter. Remember, the first Harry Potter movie came out a few months after 9/11. We had a shit fall, okay? After 9/11, you're old enough to remember how the world changed
I remember,
overnight.
I'm pushing 50, so I know exactly what happened 9/11. Right. And listen, I was fun fact, during 9/11, I was literally supposed to, because I'm in the Northeast. I was supposed to go to Manhattan that day. I was driving a truck at that time, and I was supposed to go to Manhattan. I was actually about to load my truck and go there, and I was listening. I remember very vividly, listening to Howard Stern, and he's like, a plane crashed into the building. And I'm like, at first I'm thinking, okay, what a-hole crashed to the building? Because at that year specifically, it was a bunch of like single engine planes that kept crashing. So I'm like, okay, what moron crashed into the thing now? Okay, whatever. And then it comes to find out, oh no, this was not a single engine plane. This was a actual, American airline plane. And then, and lo and behold, it was another one that hit. Like the first one, I heard about it, after the plane had hit. The second one, everybody was, they had their eyes on it, and I was like, holy smokes! And I was so worried because my younger brother was, he was in high school then. He was going to school in Manhattan, and he took the A train, which the A train goes underneath the World Trade Center.
Oh my gosh! So, I had no idea. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, the A train goes underneath the A, C, and E in Manhattan goes underneath the World Trade Center, and I'm like flipping now, like, where's my brother? He's like, yo, they stopped the train or whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay, great. Phew. Mm-hmm. So it was crazy. But yeah, the effects of 9/11, the one thing I will say out of 9/11 that happened that was a semi good thing is that the country was actually united.
Yes.
For that brief time, the country was united. And I think that was the last time we were like united. And it really drives me crazy when you hear all these people out there, especially youngsters, who talk about, oh, United States sucks and all stuff. Listen, I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Okay. I'm proud to be an American. And I didn't have such a lot of patriotism back when I was younger, but I still, whatever. As I got older, my patriotism got a little higher because I realized, you know what? There are a lot of places in this world that I don't want to go. Yes. And this country is a place that I would love to be at. I mean, we have a few allies out there I would love to go see. Like I'm planning on going to Japan next year to see my niece because she's out there. But we have allies out there that I would like to go visit their country. But some place in this world, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off. But yeah, 9/11 was like a whole thing.
Yeah, it was. And if you didn't live through it, you have no idea. No, that was great. That was gold, by the way. But what did we have though? And I'm not trying to be petty when I say the first Harry Potter movie came out in November, so people could go into a world where we believed that there was magic, and we didn't have all that crap and all that garbage. We could go and we could escape and believe. And then, of course, the first Lord of the Rings movie came out in December, right after that. And you want to talk about something where you can believe in good and evil and in the ultimate goodness of humanity. So we could go to our favorite IPs and escape and believe and be inspired and come out feeling fantastic and love for your fellow man. And now what are they doing with our pop culture? They're taking things that uplifted us, that made us just for 2 hours forget about this shit world we're living in. And they brought it in there. So now we can't look forward to this new Harry Potter thing because they are trying to divide us. They are trying to not make us like the way we were on September 12th in America, September 12th people, where we were all together and we could enjoy something. They're taking something we love and they are turning it against us. And I think that is 100% and is evil.
100%. You hit the nail on the head where we can escape. That's what entertainment was for. That's what Star Wars was for. You understand? Like me being such a huge Star Wars fan, and I don't know if we're talking about Harry Potter, but from 1983 to what? I'm going to change that because 1983 was Return of the Jedi, but 1999 was the Revenge of the Sith, I believe. If I might be getting my
no, 1999 was the Phantom Menace, and Revenge of the Sith was 2005. We had 5 years where every
All right. I knew I was mixing up the numbers somewhere because I remember my goddaughter she was born in 99, so that's why I mixed it up. But from 83 to 99, really, because that's what I meant to say. From 83 to 99, we didn't have any Star Wars. And you know what kept Star Wars alive? Was those EU books. And for Disney to come in and say, guess what? You know those books that you really love? The Mara Jades, which, by the way, I was listening to Geeks and Gamers earlier, and they said they're putting out a Mara Jade lightsaber, even though she's not in the Disney canon. They're putting that out now. Like, oh, why would you do that? Because, Mara Jade was popular, which means the EU was popular.
Damn
But
right.
we had that EU that, I mean, you don't understand. When I tell you, when my sister actually, she had a book about Callista. Now, if I'm going to go a little deep cut right now, Callista is actually the Jedi that was one of Luke Skywalker's flings that got 66, and Abeloth took her body. Now, if you don't know who Abeloth is, she's actually the big bad of the last actual Star Wars that was out there. That when I say last actual Star Wars, I mean the last one before George sold it. But I read that book, and then my girlfriend at the time, she brought me 3 Jedi Academy books, which were under Penguin, not Del Rey, because Del Rey had the other one. And ever since those 3, I started collecting Star Wars books because I was like, that one time I read my sister's book, I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah,
there's more Star Wars here. I was like, I didn't even think about the books, right? And I became an instant, book junkie with Star Wars novels, and that's what kept me. Like, I would get so hyped. Like, I would go and I look up characters, I look up Sith lore and all this stuff, and all that was from the books.
yes.
And I was like, okay, I wasn't happy that Disney was going to get it. I'm not a big fan of Disney, right? I'll tell you about that in a minute. But I was never a big fan about Disney. And I was like, okay, I'll give them a shot. Obviously, The Force Awakens came. Everybody had the tinted rose glasses on, and we fell for it. But then The Last Jedi happened. And it ruined everything because they got rid of our escapism. They tried to do the Force is female, which I got into a big argument with somebody on Twitter about the Force is female was an actual thing that Kathleen Kennedy did. And they said, oh, it was a Nike thing. Was it? Because forget about the T-shirt. Look at her actions. She made the Force female. If you look at the last show, The Acolyte, which is, oh my God, was a travesty. That was literally making the Force female.
Yeah, you know them by their deeds.
But yeah, it's the escapism they got rid of. And that's where we are, because everything has to have the message in it, has to have the agenda in it, and it doesn't have to have the entertainment in it. And that's where we are. That's why you have a black Snape, because it's a message they're pushing. That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh gosh, and we were talking about the fondness for the EU. We did something about the Thrawn trilogy, because for me, that was the EU. How I followed them, like when the first ones came out, that Thrawn trilogy, and how exciting it was, and how we had a year between each of those books, and it was like the magic is back. And you're right, they completely took that away from us, or tried to. I now pretend that the movies didn't exist, and of course,
the movies don't exist.
Yeah.
That's. And I don't even call the movies fan fiction, because no fan would make a movie like that. Those movies are Kathleen Kennedy fiction. Those are KK fiction. That's what those movies are. Every single thing. Like if you want the true Skywalker saga, you start from, like you said, the Thrawn trilogy, which I feel like a bad Star Wars fan, because I have not read this Thrawn trilogy. And the only reason why I didn't, because when I started getting into books, right? I got, what was the first book I told you, my girlfriend gave me, my ex-girlfriend, she gave me no, actually that was my sister's book. She had that one. But I had the Penguin House ones, which was literally about Jason and Jaina when they were in the Jedi Academy, when Tenno Kai was just they were just, essentially Padawans.
Oh, young Jedi Knights. Those are so much fun.
Yes. Those are the first ones that my ex gave me. And from there, what happened with me was, instead of me going backwards, I got the ones that were current. So I started with the Darkness trilogy. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the Darkness trilogy, because it's not necessarily the absolute best story, but the way and that's the other thing too. They always try to tell you that the EU didn't have any continuity, which is a lie. The EU had everything that they did. It's like they literally, to me, it's just like if they went to write a book, they had to go back to the previous author. Hey, what did you do? Okay, that's what you did. Okay, I'll continue from that. That's literally how it feels like they wrote those books, because the Dark Knight trilogy plays into the Abeloth stuff. And the Abeloth stuff, which, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the CGI Clone Wars, especially after the selling, because they sold that right around the time that was in the middle of happening.
Mm-hmm.
But the CGI Clone Wars, actually, when they did the Mortis arc, was actually the same time they put out the Abeloth books. So I was like, wait a minute, this actually goes together, which it does. They actually, so to me, it was like they had everything basically connecting on top of each other, like they were building on everything that went together. So whenever anybody tells me that the EU didn't have any continuity, I'm like, you guys either didn't read it or you're full of crap, because
Yeah,
the EU did have, like, even the stuff with the Lost Tribe of the Sith, that stuff plays into the overall arc of the actual Star Wars mythos, which that takes place, I'm going to say not 25,000, but 25,000 was like the first schism. But it's like around that time, around the very back, especially, sorry, it's back when they didn't even have battery powered lightsabers. That's what's pretty cool about that, because they didn't have that. Like, all the original proto lightsaber was not battery powered. It had you had to have a attachment to it, which is crazy. And they made all that stuff work in the EU. And I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm going to Star Wars tangent right now.
no,
And
go for it. Let it out. Feel your
So
anger. Let it flow through you.
Let your anger flow through
Yeah.
you. Good.
Well, and to bring it all full circle, you see, it's all connected. All of the
Yes.
stuff that's going on with the Snape stuff, it's not happening in a vacuum. It's not. We've had more than 15 years, I think, at this point, of this garbage, and we're sick of it. So there. And like I said, we can't go back to what we love. I mean, why do you think everyone is going back? Like right now, the cinemas near me are showing old movies. Like they're showing movies from the 90s. They're showing them from the 80s. They're showing Ghostbusters. They're showing Jaws. They're showing the Lord of the Rings. They're even showing that, the Harry Potter movies. I think once the Harry Potter movies were done, I think that was like the end of that era of where they seemed like they were really trying to do things for the fans. That was the end of it.
So I will say it's a little caveat to that, because I will say the last for the fans thing they did, even though I still say the Winter Soldier was still a more superior MCU movie, but I think the Infinity War and the Endgame, between those two movies, those were like the last time they I'm saying entertainment industry as a whole. Obviously, we had a couple of onesies, twosies, like the Barbies, the Oppenheimer, obviously the Deadpool, Wolverine. You'll have stuff where it's basically have quote unquote fan service. Which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with doing fan service if you do it with some substance to it. If you just bringing in somebody to bring in somebody, yeah, that's empty. It's like empty calories, But if you bring a fan service in it and make it make sense, oh yeah, that's good. That's very good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I would argue, I'm correcting myself already. I forgot about Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is in a class of its own.
Yes. I gotta watch the last season. I was waiting for them to finish. I like to see the whole thing, so I gotta watch that last season. But I love. Listen, by the way, speaking of Cobra Kai, were you expecting that? I mean, talk about a freaking shot in the arm. I'm like,
oh yeah.
You gotta hear about this. It was on YouTube, Reddit first. I'm like, what is this? And then I kept hearing who was it saying it? Jeremy Geese game. He was the one that kept pushing it. And he's like, you need to check this out. And I said, you know what? Let me just check it out. And I watched that and I was like, holy crap, is this good? I'm like, this is so good. And I'm like, and I got like I said, I gotta watch that last season. But that's the fan service. That's actually fan service with substance in it. It really is.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, you will not be disappointed the end. Some people have argued the ending was too much fan service. I'm like, nope. We needed a happy ending. It was great. They landed. They really do. And not only that, they brought back all the old characters, like even the ones from Karate Kid 2 and 3. It was so much fun. Chosen, and you have Kreese, you had Silver, and they expanded on the characters. And here's the other thing that made Cobra Kai so good is they had the original characters as the center and the heart, but they still managed to have the next generation integrated into it.
That is how you do it. Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that, because that is the major problem. Okay, we talked about the EU, we talked about Star Wars, right? Do you know who my second favorite character in Star Wars is?
No, I don't.
Jaina Solo.
Oh, she's badass, yeah.
All right. So, do you know Jaina Solo, obviously, which kills a narrative that, first off, she's a female, which kills every stupid narrative that they put out there. And then secondly, the other issue that kills the narrative is that Luke Skywalker in the EU is overpowered. Let's be honest. Luke in the EU is freaking God tier level force user, okay?
Yes.
And guess what they did? They were able to write him in the story as being overpowered and tell a great story. That's very similar to, like, which we have to look forward to now, is the Superman thing. Because Superman is an overpowered character, right? You have to know how to write an overpowered character and still make the movie or book or show fun. You have to be able to do that. Perfect example is Dragon Ball Z, One Punch Man, stuff like that, where your main character is overpowered, but you make the show fun. Well, my point being is that Jaina Solo is one of my favorite characters. And the fact that we will never see her in her truest form is so annoying to me. Because when we sat down and they had that first, remember that black and white picture they had with all the people? They had Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, everybody in that black and white in like a round table back when The Force Awakens, The Force Awakens, when they had that clip shown. I thought we were going to get Jason and Jaina.
Oh, I know.
I thought that's what we were going to get. I just thought that's what we were going to get. Now, I thought they were going to do a little different, but I'm like, okay, we're going to get Jason and Jaina. They're going to be a little older, fine, whatever. Were they bringing Anakin? I don't know. Who knows? Because there was a third Solo child, right? There's Anakin Solo. But I thought that's what we were going to get. And of course, we didn't get that. So I was so disappointed because I remember it was crazy. I remember like how I was reading the Star Wars novels and they had your visual representation of what Jaina should look like. And I remember at the time I was working at Home Depot and a customer came in and she looked just like the character adaptation for Jaina Solo. I said, I stopped and said, listen, I said, ma'am, if they ever make, and this is way before Disney purchased it, I said, if they ever make a freaking new Star Wars, you will be the perfect Jaina Solo. I told her that to her face. You will be the perfect Jaina Solo. And I was so hyped to see that. And of course, what do we get? What did we get?
Yeah, garbage. Well, I'll tell you, they were very hidden about the whole Rey, like who was Rey. And when the first preview came out, they did a total bait and switch. They were that whole line, "The Force is strong in my family."
Yes.
And then they showed her. I actually thought she was supposed to be Jaina in the first preview. It's like, you bastard.
Oh, and you know what's even worse than that too? What a slap in the face was them to turn Kylo Ren into Ben Solo.
Oh, hell
that was such a slap in the face. Because if for all you out there who don't know, what they kind of retconned anyway with the stupid Kenobi thing, which that was an abomination.
Because I didn't even try to watch it.
Why on God's green earth would Obi-Wan Kenobi have to stop his mission to help Leia? Your job as Senator Bail Organa was to protect Leia. Which was even crazier is that not only was he a senator for the Galactic Empire, he also was the leader of the rebellion. So not only could he have used the legal methods of getting his daughter back, which he had the full force of the empire, he also had his covert operatives, like, I don't know, Fulcrum, who's, if you don't know that, that is Ahsoka. Ahsoka was on his payroll at that time. Why
Yeah.
use Obi-Wan? Oh, I know why. So you can say that Leia interacted with Ben, and she could name her son Ben, which is a
Ex-
freaking abomination because Luke is the one who named his son Ben because he is the one who dealt with Ben.
Exactly. He and Mara, and oh gosh, and Ben
Ben,
Skywalker turned out to be pretty cool too.
yes.
Oh,
Ben Skywalker was a namesake of his old mentor, Ben Kenobi.
mm-hmm.
And again, you naming Ben Solo after Ben Kenobi when you dealt with him for that one episode or that one adventure. When Luke was with him the entire time.
Well,
I don't know.
of A New Hope, yes, but definitely it was more meaningful, and yeah, they just like to slap people in the face, and once
Yeah.
again to bring it all full circle, and
Yes.
this I like their image of taking a jar of fire ants and shaking it up, or a hornet's nest, and
Mm-hmm.
shaking it up and getting everyone upset and everyone buzzing and being, and they know what they're doing. You see, that's the other thing. They know that by doing this that there is going to be controversy, and maybe it's even a publicity stunt. Who knows? But either way, it's not showing respect for the fans. It's not showing respect for the story. And I'm sure that Rowling is going to do the same thing that she did with the whole Hermione casting in the
Yep.
play. She's going to say, oh, it's just fine and all that. And suddenly she won't be a hero to people anymore.
Well, she already has her detractors because she disagrees on that one situation about the Decepticon thing. But it's all good as far as that goes. But when it comes to Hermione in the plays, I can give the play a pass because that's not like a play is really a niche thing. So you're gonna get you're gonna have all types of people who wants to be in a play or whatever. Cool, whatever, fine. But when you talk about the movies that is your mainstream push, and listen, they just talked about Snape. What are the chances they make Hermione black? Because that's still on the table.
Yeah,
You understand
Hermione,
that?
or
That's still on
even Harry.
that's still on the table.
Hmm.
What do you say? Fan baiting is what? Let
Fan
me go back
baiting
to
is
it.
the route to censorship of public opinion. Yeah, because what he's saying is like fan baiting people into saying something ist, and then we got to ban him
Yes,
now.
yes. Oh, well, again, and you know what's the downside about that too is that there are people who fall right into that trap too. They
I
will
know.
because in uh, I've done videos about this on my channel. Where I said the fandom becoming a monster because they actually do the things that our detractors say that we are. Well, when I say we'll talk about as far as in general, where they will say some istrophobe stuff because they are frustrated with what the entertainment industry is doing. Which I'm like, they're literally getting baited into doing that, which I can't justify it because they're
No.
being dumb doing it, and at the same time they're falling into the trap. You know what I'm saying?
And they
And
become
it's
exactly.
stupid. Exactly. It's around and around they do because they're like, oh, the whole time. Cause I remember at one point in time, I've been around this whole fandom stuff when we were still considered the fandom menace. I don't know if you remember that, but I remember
Oh,
back
I
in the day when we
remember.
were, yeah, when we were fandom menace, and I was like, it was like we were definitely sticking it to Disney and all this stuff, blah blah blah. Then all of a sudden, it became splintered, and now it's because of what the mainstream has done. They have pushed the message so hard that we have people who are in the quote unquote fandom menace who forgot, and I'm saying forgot in air quotes, they forgot that there were black and brown people on your side It's not all, oh, we wanted this song. That's why I mentioned earlier. Like we wanted this swapping to happen. No, we didn't. We were fine with what the characters where they were. Listen, everybody was fine with Finn being the freaking main Jedi. But Disney did that. Disney made Rey the main Jedi. It would have been cool if they had them both the Jedi.
Yeah, why not both in? Why does it have to be either or?
Yeah, why couldn't you have Rey and Finn being the Jedi? Why couldn't they have been a couple? Why would you push this stupid Reylo thing?
Yeah, they had chemistry in the first movie. I thought that they were going to get together.
Exactly. But, and that's the thing that bothers me so much about this, because, yes, we had the mainstream that's doing stupid stuff, but also, yes, the people who are, quote-unquote, on our side fall for the bait all the time, where it becomes,
that's true.
Oh, it's a black thing. The black people did this, and all. I'm like, no, we didn't want this either. We didn't want this either. Stop it. It's not an us versus them thing. It's us versus the machine. We're supposed to be against the machine, not against each other.
Darn right. Well, and I've talked a lot about rage bait. Sadly, people on our side use rage bait, and they don't care if it divides us too. And I've found that as well, because it'll get you the clicks and the views. And so often they don't even mean it. They're almost giggling to themselves as they divide us even further. It's like, listen, we're already divided because of what the mainstream is doing. And now now we're being divided amongst ourselves. Of course, I always ascribe to the theory that the only way to win is not to play, like they said in war games. And so when I saw that there were factions trying to divide us against each other, I'm like, no, I don't play that. I'm done. I'm not going to play along. People only have power that you give to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sad because we had a really good thing going, but yeah. And so you had people, in my opinion, that genuinely fell for it and took the bait, as you said, and some that just rode along with it. So
yeah, like I said, my biggest thing is I hate the concept where we have gotten where, like, right now you'll have, like, obviously right now we're talking about the whole Snape thing, and it's not even always, you will see a certain subsection of either side either being blindly accepting it, and then the other side who should be rightfully saying, hey, this is a bad thing, but then what they do is they will let themselves fall into the trap of, oh, blackity black because it's black. I'm like, don't say that. That's the machine doing that, not us. That's not us doing that. That is not us. And I freaking hate that. And just,
I do too.
I don't know.
No, I hear you. I see that. And I've told you before, I do not have obviously the black experience, but as a woman, they often will do that too and talk down about women. It's like, no, I'm a woman and I don't want this either.
Correct. Correct.
But definitely I know exactly what you're talking about. And especially, I think that people will be taking advantage of this. I know for a fact that companies like Disney and stuff, they do have people to just sit and look at social media and find what they want to find. They will find what they want to find.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, you got to figure a multi-billion-dollar company like that. They're going to be doing two things. They're going to be doing, first thing they're going to be doing, and obviously we're talking Universal, because Universal owns Harry Potter, right? Or is it WB? I forget which one owns it.
I think WB now, whoever owns HBO, I don't know. They all own each other now.
Yeah, they because HBO keeps getting freaking bought out. But my point being is, you talk about multi-billion-dollar companies. You don't think that there are people out there who literally want to rage bait, like you said, they rage bait, and they also litmus test. They also do that. They want to see what is the public opinion of doing X, Y, Z. And they'll put stuff out there because, from what I understand, obviously, this news from him being casted, I don't know if it was like they haven't come out and officially said it, but it's been moved from like Deadline and stuff. So we hear Deadline and Variety saying it, it's probably 9 out of 10 going to be true. You know what I'm saying? Because those are like that's like the the entertainment's mouthpiece. So they once those guys say, like, if you see it like on a one of those like side places, like even like no disrespect to that Park Place or the other one. What was the other one? I forget the other
Well,
one
there's
name.
lots of them, or even like your
a bunch,
average blog.
yeah, and no disrespect to them, because they usually just be doing the same thing we're doing. But when you hear it from a Deadline or a Variety or a Yahoo, when you start hearing from them, yeah, that's a litmus test. That's a litmus test, because that's them. That's the powers that be putting out that particular thing to see where the pulse is. That's how I view it. I could be wrong, but from what I've been looking at granted, I've been doing this since 2017. I've been doing the whole YouTube thing, basically full time. So since 2017, I've been kind of keeping my ears and eyes to everything. And whenever I see that particular, like, a rumor or something, if it comes from one of the bigger mainstream places, that's a litmus test, especially if it's something that might be quote unquote controversial. Like, for instance, what did we hear last week? Kathleen Kennedy is going to be retiring, right? And
again,
I'm almost certain. I can't remember if I'm correct. Didn't Deadline Variety put that out there? I think they.
I honestly don't know. I'm just so used to hearing she's leaving and then she's not leaving. One of these days they're going to be right, because a woman can't live forever.
Are you
I
able to hear
honestly
me?
don't. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Wait, I just heard you now. Yes.
Oh no.
Well, no, you just were just for a second.
I think my phone just died. My Bluetooth just died on me. Oh, my Bluetooth was about to die on me. But anyway, I might have to bounce up on it. But I'll just say this: she said she wasn't retiring, but she's looking for a replacement. Doesn't that sound like somebody who's retiring to you? She's gonna be 72, so she's not gonna be there forever. No. Even though she says she'll die doing movies. But anyway, y'all, listen, my phone's about to die on me, so I'm about to bounce on you. I'm sorry I have to cut it short.
No problem.
I appreciate you having me on.
Well, thank you for coming on. It was so good to talk to you. We need to do this again.
No doubt, definitely. I'll do it next time on my actual computer next time. So die on me.
Well, you have a great evening. Thank you, Dmajini.
You too, my dear. Have a great one. Bye.
All right, you too. Bye. Okay, everyone, subscribe to Dmajini. Could some of my mods maybe throw his link in there? Okay. Now, sometimes when I get guests on, things get on a roll, and so I want to get back to some of these comments. Let's see. Oh, a lot of talk about 9/11. Yeah, anti-derivative Jill. She's a fan of Harry Potter. She says she's just reread the books recently, and that he was the color of sour milk. Yeah, sallow-skinned. And Archicon, I would imagine that a great many members of certain identity group feel insulted by this. We have to take an established character because a new one wouldn't be accepted attitude. That's right. Steve Ransom, Captain Not America. See, we've had pop in. I want to say hi. I think we said hi to, I've already said hi to Steven. We also have, who popped in there that I want to make sure that I acknowledge, because the chat is everything. I am nothing without you all, and I want to give you all some love and some support. Josh, there it is. Josh 1Z, and every race with each unique disability and every sexuality. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I think they have to have disabilities, don't they? Yes, Finn was an opportunity to build a great story. Catholic explaining of Wrath needs to happen. Maybe a rerun. Yes, Wrath is definitely an issue. I'm going to be talking about that when I Catholic explain online trolling and why it's a sin, frankly. Like sometimes Catholics and, well, Christians, this is going to be one of the rare ones where I just talk about Christians in general. Well, if it's online, it's not a sin. Yes, it's a sin. It's still a sin. And you are leading people to wrath, which is leading people to sin. Stephen Ransom says, we've gotten comfortable with being angry, and the road back will be very difficult for those who have never known anything but Old Man Bird. Hello. Disney Minus canceled long ago. No one cares anymore. Disney Minus. Yeah, that's a good one. Everyone, oh, people are clapping for Dmajini. We love Dmajini here at Miss Martin Muses. We love everyone. Archer Collins says, I believe KK said she was not retiring from making movies, which does not necessarily mean she's staying at Lucasfilm, although she probably is. Yes, no, we understand Bluetooth die. It happens. And this, I've had my computer die, or I've once had my cat kick me off the screen, which is not fun. But right now he's fallen asleep, so I have minimal cat interference. Well, wow, we have been going for nearly 2 hours. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I think I just went through a little bit of the litany already to thank you. Sort of Poopus Kruber, I know he was here. We had Anti-Derivative Jill, Hound 3000, Archer Collin, thank you. So in the future there, you need to get going to bed. Is your clock changing over there? Ours is this week, so I'm already trying to go to sleep a little bit earlier so I don't go insane. Oh, and I did have that $5 super chat from Dmajini. Thank you. I can do more of these actually with some of this kind of support, so I always appreciate it. And of course, I couldn't do any of this without you in the chat. Stay tuned. Yes, there will be more Catholic explaining. I was not lying when I said I was going to be doing more 10 Commandments, but my my online trolling one might be more timely. I've got a lot of videos ready to go. I finally was able to do that. I talked yesterday why I was gone for a bit. Life is happening. Thankfully, not thankfully, it's happening to other people, but they're people that I love. And sometimes that's more difficult than going through your own problems. So I'm going to be doing my best to be making more content because people have asked for it. And I like being here for you. And I mean, it's been such a journey. We all get to know each other. We do kind of become a family. And I think that that's great. D list is on Sunday. Is that what you said? D first or just it's on Sunday? Yes. Arizona doesn't change time. You are lucky bastards. Miss Martin Muses says, after Colin, good question. We normally change a week or two after you guys. Okay, that's what I thought. And I know this for a fact because we have our D&D game that we play. Steve Kenobi is our DM. And it is so annoying between him and us because either we change or he changes. And so there's like 2 or 3 weeks where we're all confused about when we're supposed to start. So we start doing things like it's going to be in 2 hours, not it's going to be at 2:00 because that's too confusing. So I'm going to once again leave. I'm going to be doing more real traveling. So I hope to make more content there and all that good stuff. But you know what? It's TGIF. You all have a great evening. Thank you for keeping me company. Have a great day, evening, morning. Have a great day and be certain to not let the bastards get you down.